Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
Bandwidth for All About Android is provided by CacheFly at CacheFly.com.
This episode of All About Android is brought to you by lynda.com. Lynda.com is an easy and affordable way to help you learn. Instantly stream thousands of courses created by experts on business, software, web development, graphic design, and more. For a free trial, visit lynda.com/allaboutandroid. That's lynda.com/allaboutandroid. And by Citrix Go to Assist, offering a secure cloud-based solution for IT and customer support professionals to provide live and unattended remote support to their employees and customers working from any computer or mobile device. For a 30-day free trial, visit gotoassist.com. And by Gazelle, the fast and simple way to sell your used gadgets. Find out what your used HTC and other Android devices are worth at gazelle.com. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of All About Android, episode 186, recorded on Tuesday, November 4th, 2014. We're your weekly source for the latest news, hardware, and apps for the Android faithful. I'm Jason Howell.
I'm Ron Richards.
I didn't hear you, Gina.
Gina's lost her voice.
Uh-oh.
Oh, there we go.
Oh, man.
Hi.
I thought we lost you forever.
Sorry. I don't know who that was. I don't think it was my
That was my bad. Way to go, Bryan. Already off to a good start.
Well, thank you for bringing Gina as Ron scowls from across the room.
I'm gonna,
okay,
wow.
man.
I'm gonna
okay.
angrily
Ron's
at
eyes.
Twit. Cranky Hippo screwed up again.
Tweet at Twit.
I'm gonna
Not impressed.
It's not like you didn't have a million buttons to press right there.
Listen,
See?
all right, I get he's got a lot of buttons. I get it.
Uh-huh. But
You guys still got to push him.
Good point. Thanks, Ron.
well, Ron, you're doing a good job pushing everybody's buttons, all right? So
I
There
love
we go.
Bryan. It's always good to be with Bryan.
we are thrilled to welcome back to the show Myriam Joire. It's good to have you back, Tank Girl. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you? How's everybody over there?
We're doing we're kind of wishing we had a Nexus 9 delivered
would've been
today.
nice.
But
I
a birdie
might be able to help.
Yeah, a birdie tells me that you might have one in your possession.
Were you thinking you were going to get yours
right
today,
there.
Jason?
I was supposed to.
You were supposed to. What happened?
Well, I pre-ordered on
Yeah.
the pre-order date pretty early through Amazon.
Okay.
And I ordered overnight shipping. So it was supposed to ship out yesterday and be received today.
Yeah.
And up until like last night at midnight when I went to bed, it still said, hasn't shipped yet, will receive today.
Yeah.
And when I woke up this morning, it had just shipped like an hour prior. So I'm getting it tomorrow instead.
Do you think they did that on purpose, knowing who you are and where
No.
it was going to, and what everything is not a Kindle
I don't think they
Fire,
care who
and
I am.
There's a flag in the Amazon system and the CRM system that if anybody,
I would love to know why it didn't get shipped out on time. But yeah.
well, you're lucky it wasn't delivered by OnTrack. I'll avoid those people.
On track. What are you talking
Oh,
about?
they just deliver. When I get stuff with Amazon, it's like supposed to arrive the next day. It just doesn't deliver, and they act as if they're delivering it on time when it's a day later. It's been very bad. Anyway,
Yeah, that is kind of the bummer when you finally spring for next day or 2 day, and then they just kind of like drop the ball on even getting it out. Sure, it ships next day or 2 day when it hits,
But there's no
if it doesn't
guarantee
hit until
we're
a couple of
gonna-
days later.
I will say later in the show we're going to talk about I got a new phone, and I'll tell that story later on. But it shipped not only was it next day. Like, I got the tracking number, and they said, well, TBD wouldn't be delivered. And I'm checking. And that morning, not only did it arrive in Oakland, and then it was delivered to me by like 10 o'clock. It was like crazy super fast delivery. It was like the departure scan happened at like 6 a.m. It was
And then
crazy.
you got it that night.
I got it that morning.
That morning.
Yeah,
Wow, that's
it was
crazy.
insane. Yeah, so
You're not
possible.
making him feel very much better, Ron.
I know, I'm
you
really not.
Like, Jason's just like, what the hell happened there, right?
Why not me?
Welcome to This Week in Logistics.
Right.
Next up, we'll be talking about the FedEx changes and how those affect
This
shippers.
weekend, anything can happen.
Well, what's going on this week?
Well, we have a lot to talk about. Obviously, we've got some Nexus stuff to talk about. The Nexus 9, as you saw, Myriam has the Nexus 9. We're going to talk all about it. Nexus 6 pre-order debacle, depending on who you ask. The official release of Lollipop, though not many people have it yet because it didn't really release in that way. Cross-platform sharing with Copresence, even more material design. At some point, we're going to stop talking about new apps and material design,
Nope,
right?
never. I never want to stop talking about material design. I want to live every day. I just want to be immersed in material design.
Celebrated.
Hashtag nope.
All right, fine. Then we'll continue. We'll just name the section material design apps and a lot more. But, let's get into news. Start talking about it.
In a world where anything can happen, it's time for Android news. I had it muted at first, so
That's okay.
There's your theme.
That's
There's
the
your,
theme.
there's your meme for the episode, Brian.
yeah, just cutting people's audio.
Just randomly mute.
And I'm sorry to our audio listeners for this week's meme.
Overzealous muting.
Not very fun for you
Everybody's
guys.
like asking what?
So let's see here. So first up, November 3rd, that was yesterday, was the date that was mentioned weeks ago by Google as the official release of Lollipop. Of course, whether that meant the leagues of Nexus owners would actually get that update on the 3rd, or whether that meant the Nexus 9, it has a release date of yesterday and has Lollipop in tow, so maybe that would qualify as the release. That's unknown. Google pushed Lollipop source to AOSP, the open source project. So that's the first step. This gives developers, of course, the chance to roll their own ROMs and get that all going. But that doesn't mean that Nexus owners received any OTA updates. As of now, no OTA is rolled out. Android Police's Artem Resikovsky said on Google Plus that a source claims the OTA is delayed due to some bugs.
Oh, that's not good.
And now scheduled for the 12th of November, which I believe is, next Monday? Next
8
Tuesday?
days from now. 8 days from now. So in a week.
So that's, that's source in air quotes. But I don't know if that's true, if it's the case of a bug, like, too bad that they couldn't have taken care of it prior, but I wouldn't want it to be released with bugginess.
I can't speak officially, but I believe that is correct. I think it's going to be held till the 12th.
Okay.
Hey, take your time. Make sure you get it right. I mean, I am a little upset because as I was concerned about, I installed Talon on my new phone, and there are no more tokens, so I can't use Talon. I try to log in, even though I had a token on my old phone. It says there are no more logins for this app anymore.
Oh, really?
And now I gotta wait for Lollipop to roll out before I get the new one. So
the old Talon app go open source?
Didn't it? I think it did. Yeah,
it did. But does that affect the tokens if it went open source?
No, it wouldn't. I don't think so because it's the same. Yeah. Anyway, that's a completely different story.
Yeah.
But I would rather have Lollipop over the air as soon as possible. I can wait a little bit if it means that there's no bugs.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, agreed. You only get one chance to make a first impression, and if they caught some bugs, they know about them. They're obviously major enough for them to hold it. That's fine. I'm excited about it being released to AOSP though. That means that Cyanogen and all the ROM developers and everybody can sink their greedy little fingers into it and make their things, which is exciting.
Yeah. If you're rooting or ROMing your device, you probably aren't going to have to wait very long, if at all, because they're probably already ROMs being supplied with this now for at least a few devices out there. So I
like the Android Police's live tracking of it. Like they're going to be releasing it. They're releasing it, and it's done. Like it's like so exciting. It's just source code.
Refreshing a web page, live blogging, man.
Yeah.
At its best.
Well, it's equally amazing that people follow it as closely as they do,
Hey, yeah,
and they eat it up, right?
We're all the same.
Yep.
Well, I mean, I think there's been a lot of talk about Lollipop, and now that I've used it for a few days, because I've had the Nexus 9 for a few days, it is really worth the wait.
Yeah, I mean, it's a fantastic upgrade to Android.
It really is.
I can't wait. Oh, I can't wait.
Yeah.
You and a lot of other people.
Very
can't
excited.
wait. I know.
Very excited.
Well, I don't think you're going to have to wait much longer.
Yeah. I can wait 8 days. It's fine. I can be patient.
All right, Gina, what else we got?
Okay, Google, search inside my apps. This is a new capability. Developers can now add OK Google search capabilities into their Android apps, making it easy for users to do a voice search and effectively apply that search to third-party apps in the same way that Google does with apps like Gmail. So in order to add this to your app, so I'm going to have to do this for To-Do Text for sure, they're saying on the developer blog, I haven't tried this yet, you add a small 6-line block of code to your app and enable deep links. So deep links are a way for Android to link to a particular piece of content inside your app. So if, say, like the IMDb app, it would link to a particular movie or a particular actor or actress. So if you search for that person or that movie, a link to inside that app would show up on your device. And so this will enable voice search for your apps, which is very, very cool. I'm excited about this.
That's going to be very cool, being able to search inside the apps themselves. I mean, and I was trying to think of what apps would I be searching within for, but even just having that ability, I bet you that's the kind of thing that you don't realize it until you can do it. You know, like I've never thought they're going, oh, I really wish I could search within this app. But
yeah. I do wonder, do we think it's going to slow down voice search at all? Because I remember, and mind you, this was on older versions of search, where you could go in, and I would go in and disable the search function from searching all across the board. Because I mean, if you leave it at its defaults, it's searching all of these Google products, play movies, books, all these things. And I would just say contacts, and I would disable them because I found that it was actually faster to do my voice search and get like web results if I disable the things that I kind of would never use voice search to search for. So I wonder if the more apps get this kind of deep linking activated, if it's going to slow it down at all. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't have a good idea of how this works exactly. I mean, my main question, and the person who wrote this up on ReadWrite, Adriana Lee, brought up the point that, if you enable search inside your apps, then Google has all the queries that you make kind of even into other apps. So a situation like, say, I don't know, Dropbox. If Dropbox enabled this, does this mean that Google is indexing my Dropbox files, even my private ones? I don't think so. I would assume that this would be a local the indexing thing that like on your device, that Android is indexing these like local files, and then you're getting them in search results, kind of getting embedded. But I'm not sure. And if that's the case, if it's locally indexing, then yeah, there's definitely going to be a cost in CPU cycles and memory and that kind of thing.
And that's a great. After you, Myriam. Sorry.
Sorry, I was just going to say, Gina, you probably know more about this, but as an ex-dev, I'm wondering if what they're doing is just basically, obviously, allowing the OK Google whatever command in the front in the OS to extend the search for that. So it's going to be up to the developer to decide if that's a local index or an online index. I could see that perhaps your app could index the Dropbox, put the results in the local index on Android, and then that would be searchable by the OK Google APIs. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I hear you, and that was my impression of how it worked. That that this is just kind of a peek into, this is a link or a handle into the app's search, however the app searches, right? This app is just exposing deep links and doing the searching for you. So Google isn't actually adding this information into its own index, right? It's just an interface,
right?
And so that seems to make the most sense.
It'll be up to the developers to decide how much they want to divulge of the user's data, obviously.
Right.
Yeah, I think that's
interesting, though.
Yeah, very interesting, and I love seeing Android take the strengths of the platform, and admittedly, voice search on Android is one of the big strengths of Android right now, and allowing people to tap into that. So I think this is an excellent step.
Yeah. Sure. Next, Google Now, please.
Yeah, right.
I really want third-party apps to be able to make Google Now cards.
Man, could you imagine that could go two different ways though, right? Like that could be incredibly interesting. Like suddenly Google Now becomes hyper useful.
Yep.
It could also get really noisy to the point to where you don't want to use it as much because now all I get is this kind of thing happening.
Yeah.
But aren't they going that way with
never
Inbox?
Show me this again.
Right.
Aren't they going that way with Inbox as well, letting developers create to create basically a way to have Inbox display data in a certain way if it's formatted in the email a certain way? I was reading up on that recently.
Oh, interesting. I didn't know about that.
Yeah, so basically, you know how right now, like if you're Travelocity and you send a canned email reply saying, your hotel is booked, my understanding is that Inbox is going to let the format of the email basically dictate the way it appears in inbox and how inbox picks it up and puts it in a category. So they're kind of trying to define basically a way to make that happen. I don't know exactly where I read this, but I read it and it makes perfect sense, because if you think about it, that's exactly what Google Now does. To me, all of this is the same thing. It's all basically notifications becoming tiny little payloads of data and appearing in a timeline on a device. So whether it be your notification tray or your watch or your Google Glass, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
No, actionable notifications are micro apps if you think about them. That way.
That's true.
Definitely.
And so what if you extend that and Inbox kind of leverages that in a certain way. Google Now leverages that in a certain way. So I think that's kind of where they're trying to go with this.
Interesting. Yeah, I think I found a Google Plus post where they're talking about the inbox. It looks like the markup code that
that's
the
correct.
developers
That's what
can
I'm
put
talking
in there.
about. Yeah.
Interesting. Very
so
interesting.
It's kind of cool, right? I mean, it makes perfect sense.
Yeah, totally.
I think it's going to open up a whole bunch of possibilities, and I really do think that Google Now is going to become connected to Google Now in some way. I think a lot of what they're doing already by scanning through your emails to get the Google Now stuff is going to be facilitated by this markup that they're putting in for inbox. You know what I'm saying?
Well, yeah, but the same kind of point that Jason made earlier about the Google Now cards is that it's all a matter of how the developers use that markup because it's the kind of thing where us in this kind of idyllic utopian kind of state where it's like, okay, well, the emails from Travelocity and Hotels.com should go in the travel bucket or whatever. But as a marketer, I don't want my emails getting lumped in with somebody else's. I want mine to stand out. So It's going to be, how are we going to be able to use this markup to not have my email show up there? I want it to show up in your, I must read this kind of spot, and so
it's kind of like website metadata. It's going to be the same thing, like how it influences SEO, and I mean, somebody will figure it out. I think it's going to take a little while to stabilize into a place where people know how to use it and people know how to avoid it. And I can foresee a future where you kind of have this spam blocking for notifications, where because as I said, I really think this markup based, basically notifications is new content. And as such, wouldn't it make sense to have a markup to create a notification that would appear on multiple devices and multiple inboxes? And I think that's kind of where we're headed with this stuff.
Yeah. Interesting stuff.
Yes.
Well, some more interesting stuff around the concept of copresence. You might have heard that get thrown around in the Android lexicon this past week. This is heavy, so bear with me here. But so multiple sources for multiple outlets. When you've got multiple sources at multiple outlets, it's something.
You know what they say.
You know what they say.
I don't know what they say.
But they're pointing to the possibility that Google might be tackling cross-platform content sharing between devices, similar to what AirDrop or Android Beam do in a platform-dependent way. All right, so think about that. Copresence, as it's internally known, would allow Android and iOS devices to talk to each other, sharing all types of content between them with authentication via Bluetooth or proximity. File transfer would take place using Wi-Fi or Wi-Fi Direct. Over on Android Police, the images that they had up on their post were pulled from the latest Google Play Services APK that visualized the process. And 18 mentions of copresence currently reside in the Chromium bug tracker. The tipster that we were reading off this said that it should hit in the coming weeks, but of course, nothing official yet from Google. So it seems the evidence trail is pretty. It seems all things are pointing to this ability. Jason, do you believe it?
I think
Jason
I believe.
believes it.
Sure, I believe it. Yeah, I mean, if all the evidence is there, if what 18 mentions of this in the Chromium bug tracker, so they're obviously working hard on something.
Right.
I personally, I've always thought that Android Beam was kind of neat, but nothing that I ever used because it's not the kind of thing that you just assume that everybody has, right? And so instantly, right there, if I'm going to beam something to you, I have to know that you have the ability to receive the beam, and it just kind of takes this layer of, it takes the ease of use and the kind of immediacy of, I'm just going to do this because it's a no-brainer. You're going to be able to receive it out of the equation, and that kind of kills it for me. If it's cross-platform and people really adopt it, I think it's a very useful thing. So yeah, I believe that. I definitely believe that they're working on it.
Yeah.
And I would love to
Coming
see
weeks. We're going to see it in coming weeks.
I don't know. I don't know about that.
We're going to see it with those horrifying illustrations of people holding devices that are alive. Did you see those? I mean, Bryan was going through them, but they were, look at that.
Oh, my
Look at
goodness.
that. It's like, me.
Is that a hot dog? That's a hot dog.
Yeah, they're sharing pictures of hot dogs. Apparently,
They're being held very intently and sharing photos, and they're
man,
happy about it.
I have this awesome picture of a hot dog I'd like to send you. Do you mind?
I like the little Bluetooth and Wi-Fi icons and the magic in between the two devices. That's
With the stars.
And the
And a little
location-based
map pin is the new
icon.
device.
Yeah.
yeah.
It is,
I know.
it is
You see,
beautiful.
you see, here's the thing: is that the devices by themselves, this scenario I can take. Okay, look, they're on the bench, and there's an iPad, and there's that looks like an old Moto Droid
An
phone,
Xperia,
right? Or
yeah,
whatever.
yeah, I see
Those
buttons
again,
at the bottom,
it was the
yeah.
shots of the devices being held by human hands that freaked me out. That's what that's what really.
Like all they have to do is clinch down, and that
Right.
device dies.
Right, or a little more data squeezes out and goes cross-platform. It just
Right, you squeeze it and pictures of hot dogs come out.
right. You never know what you're gonna get.
You'd think the mustard would come out instead. But
see. That's ow. Brian, am I right? Is that creepy?
Yeah, it's a little creepy.
All right, thank you. Yeah. See, Brian's my
I
barometer.
think it's
Cool.
the feet that are.
It's the feet,
leg.
yes.
Yeah.
It's the
Dangling
limp,
legs.
the limp
Yeah.
feet, the limp legs. At least on the one on the left, you see some feet, but the one on the right is just dangling. It just those are tendrils.
Help me. They're holding me too tight.
All right, I feel like we're reading into this maybe a little too much, you guys.
No, seriously.
not.
When this happens, all of our phones are going to have legs. and no, I don't think we're reading too much into this. This is totally going to happen.
Man, between the photos of Jason from Halloween and that, I'm gonna have nightmares tonight, man. Jeez. Oh God. Anyway.
I wonder if this is related to the demo we saw at Google I/O, where was it Sundar Pichai who was showing us that when your phone's running low on battery, which by the way, worst demo ever, but when your phone is running out of battery, you get like a little notification in Chrome, like, hey, you've got to charge your phone. Or it sounds like this might be a little bit different. This sounds like this is more about beaming files.
Yeah.
But it is kind of that idea that like Android and Chrome can talk to one another and be aware of one another and let you know what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Lord knows it'd be neat to be able to to have my friends with iOS devices to be able to easily send files, like if you're with somebody and be like, oh, here, take, instead of having some intermediary or something like that. I mean, that's an AirDrop-like functionality is pretty cool.
What was that app that was cross-platform that let you tap phones together? Was it called Tap? Bump. Yes, thank you.
Didn't Google buy that?
Yeah, I think so.
Ooh,
I think
is this
that was
related?
So
part of Beam.
Bump lets you
it
tap
was.
phones without NFC just by using the accelerometer and the geoposition of the phones at the time to kind of determine what the closest devices could potentially be to initiate a file transfer for pictures. Remember that? And add contacts as well. It was originally
Right.
for. I thought that was a clever thing. It worked relatively well when I used it, but NFC obviously would make it a lot more bulletproof.
Yeah.
Yep.
Does this make it less creepy?
No.
Oh my
No.
goodness.
Oh,
much worse.
wow.
Oh my
you
God.
Sundared the phones.
Jeez. They're really talking about that hot dog.
Hot dog, guys.
They're really excited about
Hot
that
dogs,
hot dog.
trees.
Hot
Hot
dog.
dogs, trees.
Hot dogs.
Hot dogs, trees. All right.
Oh man! All right. Well, we got an email. Got an email here. So those of you who watched last week, you know, but those of you who missed it, I cracked the glass on my phone, my Nexus 5. I was debating over what I should do. Many of you in the chat room said, "Oh, they'll replace it or whatever." And so Hung Nguyen wrote in and said, "Hello, Ron and AAA crew. You mentioned your cracked screen on your Nexus 5. Well, a friend told me about the Gizmodo article on Google's possible replacement program for valued customers. Thinking this is a long shot, I called Google inquiring about the program, and the rep said, no official program, but let's look at your account, see what we can do, and refer to a supervisor. Minutes later, the rep comes back and said that they can do a one-time replacement of the Nexus 5 phone with the cracked screen. Woohoo, score! But this is where you're waiting for the bad news to come, right? Well, the goodness doesn't stop there. One day after the call, a replacement Nexus 5 came from Google. If I could sing, I would be singing the awesome song from the Lego Movie. It takes this thing. It takes this thing of the. It takes this thing of the second cracked screen on the iPad Mini away. Yes, you read correctly. The iPad Mini screen is cracked again. I wonder if I'll get a similar result when I call Cupertino. Not likely. So.
No. Just email Tim Cook.
Yeah.
No, seriously.
Yeah, probably.
You never know.
But anyway, so tying back to this, I had a similar experience. I have my brand new Nexus 5 here. Not brand new, but a new Nexus 5. I did not call and ask about the program for valued customers. Rather, I just called and said, hey, I cracked my screen. Is there anything you could do about it? And they looked up the IMEI of my device, looked at my account, and found out that I had 12 days left of my warranty. I had bought it. Remember, I bought it in November of last year. And they said, while they can't replace the device, they can give me a refurb at no cost. And
awesome.
They'll ship it next day. And sure enough, like I said earlier, it arrived next day by 10:30. All I had to do was I had to buy one in the Google Play Store, and they authorized my credit card for like $400. And then when I sent the old one back, they canceled that order and got rid of the hold because they want to get the RMA phone back. So I sent the old phone back to them. So the cracked screen is now gone. It's sent back to Google. And
Don't drop it.
I know. Yeah. Now I have it. It's great.
So how good is the refurb, Ron?
It, honestly,
Can you tell in any way?
yeah, I could. Well, because first it came in like a random anonymous white box, and like it didn't come with a power plug or anything like that. All it was that it was the phone in bubble wrap in this anonymous box. It looked brand new. It was so clean. The only thing that made me notice was that, remember we all when we got our Nexus 5, we got that little barcode sticker back here. There was no barcode sticker there. And so clearly it had been in someone else's hand.
But it has no signs of wear, right?
No, I mean, here, Jason, look at it. I'll let third party.
Allow me to get my microscope. No, I can't see any.
And I haven't dropped it yet either.
Impressive.
So,
Yeah, no, it looks pretty. Looks better than
the
mine.
response was pretty impressive.
yeah.
You had to buy another phone. I mean, you love the Nexus 5. The Nexus 6 is too big for you, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty good. The screen, it doesn't look. I don't see any cracks there or scratches.
Nothing. You can't even tell.
Nope, looks great.
So.
Fantastic. Wow, that's pretty awesome.
I love that.
The moral of the story is don't be a jerk when you call customer service. Be nice. That was the one thing. Because I imagine if I
Yes,
called and was all angry, and like they were there to help.
I'm angry because I dropped my phone.
I don't like you. And everyone in the chat room and everybody on Twitter and everyone on Google Plus telling me to get a case. It would have cracked if I had a case anyway, because it was my keys and it was moving stuff and stuff like that. I hate cases. I've never dropped a phone and cracked it. I don't need a case.
I feel the
so,
same way.
Yeah.
I'm just waiting for the time to come along, though, that's going to prove me wrong.
The same
But
way.
I am kind of concerned about this because now there was a TechCrunch post, there was a Gizmodo post. We're talking about it here. If this is like a secret thing that Google's doing, I don't want to make too much a big deal of it. That's the kind of
Yeah, I mean, there was definitely news spreading about this,
Yeah.
I think a month ago. So I don't know how secret it really is. What I'm wondering is, will this extend to other Nexus devices?
And I would have been curious if this
Let me
happened.
try my Nexus 9 right now.
Yeah, go
Yeah,
ahead.
just-
If you could just, do you have a hammer?
Yeah.
Because we could
Yes,
test
I
this
do.
right now. Okay.
And the
Do
question.
I have a hammer?
The real question is that this was in 3 weeks from now, and my warranty was out. What would have happened? Would I have been
Right.
SOL, or would they have done it anyway?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good
If
question.
they'd done it anyway, that would have been awesome. But yeah, who knows? Anyway.
Yep.
All right.
All right. Well, before we get to talking about some awesome hardware, let's take a minute and thank our first sponsor of today's episode. That would be Lynda at lynda.com. It's an easy and affordable way to help you learn. You can instantly stream thousands of courses created by experts on software, web development, graphic design, and so much more. All you have to do is go there and take a look at their categories. Their library is very extensive. Lynda.com works directly with industry experts and software companies to provide timely training, often the same day new versions or releases hit the market, so you're always up to speed. All the courses are produced at the highest quality, not like the videos that you find on YouTube. These courses are broken into bite-sized pieces so you can learn at your own pace from start to finish. Or you can just find a quick answer if that's what you're looking for. Just hop in, find what you need, and get back to normal life. Tools include searchable transcripts, playlists. There's certificates of course completion, which you can publish to your LinkedIn profile. That's great if you're a professional in the field. Whether you're a beginner or advanced, lynda.com has courses for all experience levels. You can learn while you're on the go with the lynda.com apps for both Android and iOS. One low monthly price of $25 gives you unlimited access to over 100,000 video tutorials. And premium members with an annual plan can download courses to watch them offline. Premium plan members can also download project files and practice along with the instructor, and that's incredibly helpful. A few audio projects that I watched, you get the Pro Tools file, so you can actually load it up on your Pro Tools and see exactly what they're talking about on the screen. You don't have to recreate it. Of course, recreating it means you learn it a little bit better, but it's nice to see how they got to that point. New courses include up and running with the standard PHP library, leading and working in teams, and multi-device prototyping with Ratchet. There's even a new course on EDM production techniques. It's extreme sound mangling. That sounds awesome, actually. I love watching people do what they can, mangling sound. Like some people take these old, ancient, toys, these hardware toys, and just get in there and twist it up and turn it into an instrument. So all that kind of stuff here on Lynda. It's really cool stuff. For any software you rely on, lynda.com can help you stay current with all software updates and learn the ins and outs to be more efficient and productive. We've got a special offer for you to access all of the courses free for 7 days. Just visit lynda.com/allaboutandroid to try lynda.com free for 7 days. Check it out for yourself. That's lynda.com/allaboutandroid. What a great resource. I love lynda.com. You should definitely check it out. And you have an even better reason. 7 days free. That's lynda.com/allaboutandroid. And we thank Lynda for their continued support of All About Android and the Twit Network. All right, we've got some awesome hardware to cover, so let's do it. Oh, thank you. Yes, please. Oh.
It was so good the first time.
I see what you did there, though, because we didn't really hear the first part
Right, because it was muted.
it, so you let it play through the next.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's just being thorough. He's just being thorough.
I understand.
The Sundar mouth moving thing kind of threw that off.
Listen, Jason, stop,
I understand.
stop giving Bryan such a hard time. He's working hard back there.
Thank you, Ron.
Just saying. I got
Bryan,
your back, Bryan.
Bryan,
You and me.
we still love you. Yeah. Please don't walk out on the show. Okay, good.
If Bryan walks, I walk.
Oh, okay. See, that's solidarity.
Oh, wait
no,
a minute.
don't do it. Don't.
Oh no.
Well, if you're going to do it, leave it on this screen. Let's see here. So, Myriam, you have the Nexus 9. What do you think?
Dun, 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 dun. I should probably lower the brightness on this. You know what? It is the best Android tablet I have ever used.
Wow.
That's saying a lot.
That's crazy.
You've used a lot of them.
Well, yeah, but that being said, I am not a huge tablet user, right? The tablet's not really a part of my daily usage regime. The Nexus 7's kind of been my go-to tablet mostly. And I have to say I like the iPads. I had for a while an iPad mini first gen that I really liked in terms of size. I like the smaller tablets. So this is getting a little bit. Let me actually lower the brightness a little bit here. And that way it'll come out a little better on video, I think. Let's see. Is this better? Is this too dim?
That's good.
Wait.
Yeah, I know. Then you get the reflection.
Tilt it downwards.
Let me turn it down a little higher because that's a little too low. And here we go. Let's see if I can show you guys the.
There you go.
There it is. I still have the notification screen up, which I don't want.
So just to be clear, you have not played around with Lollipop before experiencing it on the 9.
I purposely kind of decided that I was going to stay out of putting Lollipop's initial builds on my devices so that I could kind of experience it fresh, And so then HTC sent me this to play with last week. Here's the back of it. If you guys are wondering what it looks like, you can see the little Nexus logo. There's here front back camera. It's 8 megapixels.
Right.
It looks like somebody maximized the Nexus 5
Yeah,
back.
it kind of does.
Yeah. So it basically the back, like in terms of industrial design, they look very similar to the Nexus 9 and Nexus 5. The only big difference is that the Nexus 9 has an aluminum edge, like actual metal, which is really nice. So my takeaway, I think, overall is that I think it's the best Android tablet that I've used for sure. But I don't know if it's as good. Like I still think the iPad's a better thing.
Overall
and I'll tell you
tablet.
why. I know we're on an Android show, but I have to say that it's the app ecosystem that makes the difference, right? And I think the biggest difference is the pricing here doesn't really make a lot of sense. The model I have is a 16 gigabyte model with Wi-Fi only. There's an LTE version, of course. And the 32 gigabyte version, no expandable storage, so keep that in mind. And it's $399 for the 16 gigabyte no LT. At that price, you can buy last year's iPad Air, which is made of metal, has a slightly bigger screen, and I think has a better app ecosystem. If you're just browsing the web and using cloud-based apps like the usual, G Plus and Facebook and Twitter and stuff, then it doesn't really matter what ecosystem you need to, to kind of subscribe to. But if you have if you're a DJ and or you're a musician and you want music apps, I think the iPad's the better choice.
Yeah, that could change. That could change.
Right, that could change.
There are music.
That being said, Lollipop there's on the video me comparing it to the OnePlus One. So the OnePlus One is a big phone. You guys know this, and so this gives you a good idea of what the size difference is. But look, I'm not here to knock the Nexus 9. It is the best Android tablet on the market. It's the pricing I have an issue with. So people have reported that there's a bit of a weird feeling here in the back when you press on it. It kind of
bouncy.
Kind of gives, and it's true, it does. But perhaps it makes it more robust if it gets dropped. I don't know. The reality though is for me is that doesn't feel as premium as an iPad Air for $399 or an iPad Mini for, last year's is $299, this year's is $399 with the same specs. So, if the end customer, we all Android people, so we like this, but the end user is just going to buy a tablet because they need a tablet. And if they want a better app ecosystem, the iPad is going to be a better choice. Otherwise, Lollipop is absolute delightful. It's the most beautiful version of Android I've ever used. It's fast on this. Battery life has been pretty good for me, but I haven't. It's not like I've played games all day on it, so I really don't have a point of reference. Again, I'm not a heavy tablet user. So some people who play a lot of games and watch a lot of video content on this might find that perhaps battery life isn't that great. I've heard rumors that it kind of gets warm playing games. I haven't, again, used it enough to know this. But for browsing the web with Chrome, for Twitter, Facebook, G+, all the basic stuff you do, this is fantastic. So the price is a bit weird, and there's this rumor. Well, it wasn't a rumor. For part of the day today, you could buy it for half price, right?
Yeah.
So I kind of don't understand this. It's kind of almost like Google shooting themselves in the foot, going, okay, here's our best version of Android, the first device with it, woohoo, right? And then they priced it at $399, which is I don't think that competitive. It should be maybe $349 or $300, and then they drop the price to half, kind of pretty much reinforcing what I just said. And then they put it back to normal, right? It's back to normal.
Oh, yeah, it's back to normal. It didn't last very long.
That was an HTC deal.
Right, it was an HTC
it wasn't
deal.
Google, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but it still doesn't make any sense, right? It's kind of like, why would you do such a thing? I just don't get it. But it is a nice tablet. The screen is very nice. It's an IPS panel. It has really good viewing angles. Here's the thing that I think is better than the iPad by far: the speakers. It's got boom sound speakers, just like a lot of HTC phones, and it sounds really great. It also has the double tap to wake, on the screen, which is, if you've gotten used to it like I do, because I'm a big HTC person, is nice to have. What else is there that's kind of unique to this? It's a 4.3 aspect ratio tablet. Has there ever been another Android tablet that's 4.3?
There may have been, but I can't remember.
Major ones. I don't remember any major ones, right?
Right.
And then what else is there about? It's got an 8 megapixel camera, as I mentioned earlier, but it's not that great. It's not terrible, Like if we had a camera 2 or 3 years ago, we'd be very happy with it. It's autofocus. It doesn't have HDR though, which is very odd. I'm not a person who takes photos of my tablets, but
right.
The hardware supports HDR. Like it's just a software thing. It's like with a K1 processor, clearly the ISP must be able to support HDR. I don't get it. I don't know why.
Well, we really should not promote taking photos with the tablets. We've gone over this before.
That's true.
We do not. The last thing we need to see is people at concerts and
I agree 100%. Okay. I'm just pointing out to you that the camera had some potential, and then I realized it took out HDR. I don't know why.
Yeah. Well, and you mentioned kind of briefly there the K1 processor, 64-bit processor. So it's the first Android tablet, I believe, and definitely the first Nexus that's 64-bit capable, which also Lollipop is. So I imagine that means performance
really
improvements.
The thing that I find really fast on this compared to any other Nexus or Android device I've used is the UI. That Butter interface that they launched a while back. It's been updated and it seems smoother than ever to me. And if you scrub through my video, you'll see at some point I'm dismissing notifications, and it's just like, wow, you've never seen sorry, I was dismissing apps, in the multitask.
Right.
And it's just, you can't see any stutter. It's just absolutely fluid. And so animations seem a lot more fluid. Whether that is an indication of performance of the processor or of the OS, I don't know, but it certainly feels like you never have to wait for anything on this thing. So on that perspective, I was pretty impressed. Yeah, if you keep rolling the video there, you'll see at one point I'm switching over to dismissing some apps, and yeah. Anyway, I have to say, for a demoing Lollipop, this is a great vehicle. If you have a Nexus 7, you're happy with it. This is going to be way faster, but also bigger, and it's smaller than Nexus 10. It's got, think about it. If you've seen an iPad Air and an iPad Mini, there's a part where I dismiss notification. Check out how smooth this goes.
Oh wow!
I mean, right? You've never seen this before. Anyway, so if you have seen an iPad Air and an iPad Mini, it's almost exactly halfway the size in between the two. So it's bigger than Nexus 7. Like when you're coming from Nexus 7, I felt it was a bit big. The Nexus 10 is way bigger, despite the screen not being that much bigger.
Right.
And so, it's manageable in terms of size. It's pretty thin. It could be lighter. That's the other thing that I wish. The weight is a bit of an issue. The other thing is, it doesn't have any expandable storage, and the buttons here on the side. My camera probably won't focus on this, but there is a.
Yeah,
you can see the buttons there. There's power and volume rocker, and they are very stiff and very hard to locate by feel.
Wow.
So that was, I don't know if it's just my tablet, because nobody else wrote about that in their review. So I'm wondering if mine just has a badly manufactured buttons, because it's really, you barely can feel that they're there. And when you press them, there's very little positive feedback to know that you've actually pushed on them. But yeah, that's in a nutshell the review. I mean, your mileage will vary, I'm sure.
Yeah,
Myriam, I have one question for you about the app ecosystem. Did you mean the app ecosystem for tablet optimized apps?
Correct. Tablet optimized apps.
Okay.
I'm going to
So
make this 100%
not Android versus
clear.
iOS in general.
No, not at all. This is not what it's about. You know that I am a huge proponent of Android. All my phones are pretty much my daily drivers, but I feel that this, if you've used an iPad and installed some of the awesome music apps for iPad, it's just, you just don't have that breadth yet. And now with Lollipop, you really need apps to take advantage of Lollipop. And, that's even going to take longer to exist. Whereas I think if you buy an iPad today, there are some apps that have been around for a long time that just run, and they're tablet optimized right from the get-go, Right. And again, I'm not trying to slam it. You guys know that I love my Android, and I know I'm on an Android show, but I just want to set people's expectations. If you're an Android person and you want the best Android tablet, it's a no-brainer. Right. Drop the money. Or wait a little bit, so hopefully it drops in price, and then it's really worth its price in terms of material and build quality and all that. If you're just shopping for a tablet and you want the best, I don't think this is the best.
Yeah, well, I mean, and it's tough because like we talked about. I mean, last week on the show we had the CEO of Algorithm, who's after the DJ2 got released for Android finally. So I think with the hooks for music apps and things like that Jason, you've mentioned that our Lollipop now supports, we're going to see that development come, and it might be in 6 months. It could be a much different, maybe a more equal footing, or at least closer.
I really hope so.
I hope so too. But I got to admit, like, of all the Nexus devices that came out in this wave, the one I've been most about has been the Nexus 9, because I'm ready to throw my 7 out the window. Just slow. It's just I'm slow. Yeah. I'm feeling it after 2 years. But Myriam, the comments you made about the price, and I'm looking at 16 gig Wi-Fi, $399.
Yeah, right.
Would I want 32 gig, and then that goes up to $479, and then and then geez, do I want to go LTE? Then it's even more money. It does seem expensive. If you go 32 gig LTE, you're talking $599. Which is just crazy.
And don't get me wrong, it feels nice in hand. The materials are, the back is plastic. The side is definitely aluminum machine. It's beautiful. It's nice. But if you've touched an iPad, it's no contest. It's not even in the same league. iPad is so much nicer to feel in hand. So much more rigid. I'm sorry. It's just the way it is. I can cite a whole bunch of Android phones that are as good as an iPhone, including the HTC One M7, the M8, and so it's kind of disappointing at that price point. That's what I expect now. That's what most people expect. Let's not kid ourselves.
Yeah, but although, I mean, as somebody who will never go to the iOS ecosystem, you know, like I'm loath to even, like, I took, as soon as I can take iTunes off my dock, on my computers I can, like, I don't want anything iOS, so it's a pretty good option for an Android tablet. I mean, like, I would, I think I would get it and be very, very happy.
As I said, this is by far the best Android tablet ever made.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about it in my mind. Absolutely none.
Well,
you can't go wrong with this as an Android device.
That's it's a positive statement because some of the reviews that I've read have not necessarily said that. You know what I mean? So,
I mean, the only thing I can think
split.
of is if you want, the only alternatives on Android for this are to go with a Galaxy Tab of some kind. And in that sense, I think that Samsung has an advantage with the larger size Galaxy Tabs, if that's your thing. But then you get all the BS of the TouchWiz UI and the magazine UI and all that other crap that Samsung is so well known for putting on there. And I'll be honest with you, I'd rather have a tablet slightly smaller that has a pure Nexus device like that. I mean, I'm sure you feel the same way, right? Mm-hmm. But for some people, I can see the Galaxy Tab 12 being perfect. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm.
So thank you for showing off the Nexus 9. That was, not the only Nexus news that we've seen this week. Actually, this hardware block, before we get to a few more devices that you're working with, is all kind of Nexus related because that's kind of what we've been watching.
Very much an emotional roller coaster. It's very much. I mean, already we've had the up and down of the Nexus 9. Now, Jason, what about the Nexus 6?
Gina.
Yeah. Oh, Gina. Sorry. What about the Nexus 6?
Well, the Nexus 6 pre-orders went live and sold out in seconds. As Jason had a front row seat to this.
Yes.
So the Nexus 6 pre-order date hit. No indication of when pre-orders would open up. Earnest nerds everywhere were refreshing the page. And if you were trying to get one and refreshing that page, you saw that they seemingly went straight from pre-order begin soon, quote unquote, to sold out of inventory. Cue mass hysteria as Nexus fans took to social media to voice their disappointment. So those went fast, but Google says that new stock will be available for pre-order every Wednesday leading up to the phone's release. So more tomorrow, I guess.
Yeah.
So Jason, you live this.
I lived this. Oh boy.
You lived this, and
I remember the day
one.
well.
Leo didn't. Yes.
Yeah. No.
Leo got one. Leo didn't get one. You did get one.
They said pre-orders on, I can't remember what day it was anymore. Every day bleeds together lately. But
or Jason.
But they said pre-orders start then. I was up until midnight just in case pre-orders actually started then Pacific time, which I knew probably wasn't the case, and it didn't. So it was like 10 a.m. the next day, which I was here thankfully, and I had two different browsers open, one armed for one configuration, the other armed for the other. I was just kind of refreshing between the two, and then suddenly on this one, it went from, pre-order begins soon immediately to out of stock, out of inventory. I was like, holy crap. So then I'm over here like, okay, gotta get it. And I just, I lucked out. Like there was most people, and I think I even saw in this Android Police article, they did a poll of all the people that tried to get one. And I think they said, 10% of the people had success, 90% did not, which makes you wonder how much stock did they have? Did they, are they purposefully holding them back, or is this the result of this being a Nexus that's going to all carriers, so their stock is split amongst all these places, and they have to have guaranteed stock at those places? So I don't know, but then it's Google. Make it happen. There's that expectation.
Here's a couple of points that I'm thinking. One that supports that, and the other one that kind of goes against it. I know in terms of review units, they've had very limited stock this year compared to usual. Normally, I don't really have any issue getting review units for Nexus devices when they launch, as a small side blog that I am today, compared to the days when I used to work at Engadget. And this year, it's been a little harder. They told me up front, they said, we can't put you in the first wave. There'll be multiple waves and we'll put you in the second wave kind of thing, which is great. I'm very happy. I mean, I'm looking forward to getting one. So no matter what, if I have to wait a little longer, that's fine. Apparently, a lot of people are going to be waiting. But at the same time, I'm wondering, so that kind of supports what you're saying, very limited stock at launch. But at the same time, I'm wondering if it's not an artificial thing. Look, the reality is they put the price to what? It's $649, right? For the
Yeah,
The base price for the
I believe
Nexus
so.
is
Sounds about right.
Yeah.
Mid
So
to upper
649,
600s, regardless. Yeah.
And I'm not talking about the subsidized version because whatever, who buys
Right.
subsidized? Come on, seriously. So 649, 649 is a lot more than last year's Nexus 5. And so, one of the big surprises with the Nexus 6 announcement and the Nexus 9 announcement was the basically full pricing on these devices. And so I'm wondering if this is kind of unintentional. They sold so many Nexuses last year at a low price. They were like, well, we can probably bump the price. And then if we make it look scarce, we'll actually grow up demand for it. And more people want it because like, oh my God, it's like apparently selling out. So I'm wondering if that's part of the strategy, to be honest with you. And perhaps it just wasn't sustainable for Google to make these devices as affordable as they did for 2 years. It's really 2 years, right? The Nexus 4, the Nexus 5, and the Nexus 7 in between. That's pretty much it, right? I guess the Nexus 10 was kind of affordable too for its time. But since then, with the 6 and 9, they're going back up. And I'm wondering if it's kind of a strategy to kind of make these devices back into kind of real flagship,
in demand.
Defining products for the Android universe. And maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
Well, I could see that, and I could see, Lord knows, I know a lot about creating scarcity and collectability and things like that in my day job. But you got to think that the phone isn't going to be a flagship or something that people, if they can't get it, if it's not out there, and I think that by having it be sold out, like there's a mental thing that happens when you can't get something, you want it that much more. But
my point is that it might just be a temporary thing. They're just kind of doing it to
I'm
create
sure,
hype.
yeah.
And then, but also, Halo devices are like that. You don't want, how many LFAs did Lexus make? 400 or something?
Yep.
It's a Halo device. There you go. Maybe that's all it is.
It really is.
So to continue the roller coaster that is Nexus 2014, the one device of the three that on the onset I was the most excited about, that I was being the Google TV, Android TV guy, than Google's Nexus player, and so, but I didn't, I missed the pre-sale, but I'm like, well, I want to see how it is or whatever, and it seems as if within minutes of the NDA restriction lifting, everyone's reviews went up, and they were pretty much all consistently that the Nexus player is not quite ready for prime time.
Yeah, that's a bummer.
Ron Amadeo did a great analysis and great breakdown of it on Ars Technica, and basically the net is that the device is all right. The app and game catalog is pretty scarce, and the remote is cheap and dinky.
I think all you need to do, Brian, is scroll to the very bottom of this review and take a look at the pros and the cons.
Yeah,
and you'll kind of see what pretty much everybody.
It goes on for a while.
Yeah, it's a big article.
A long one.
But if you go down to the bottom there, you see three good and just a ton of bad and ugly, and ultimately it just. Honestly, when I read through these and kind of hear more about the Nexus player, it reminds me of the ADT1, which is the developer version of it that I have, and a lot of similar issues with that. And I hope that a lot of it's just figured out. Definitely. The availability of compatible apps is a problem right out of the gate, but you kind of expect that if it's a new platform, right?
We had that problem with the Google TV, and it never really got solved, and you're hoping that with this platform. But go back to that list, Brian. There's one that I think is even worse. The ugly, a video player that can't smoothly play video.
Yeah. I know.
Like if that's the core, that's the
deal breaker.
Yeah, if that's the core functionality of the device, that's rough.
Yeah, it is.
So I just want to say I'm not impressed because it is not my Nexus Q.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm still madly in love with the design of that thing.
Oh, yeah.
I know it's a complete paperweight, but it's a collectible.
Hey, the design didn't go
paperweight.
anywhere. The design still exists. So.
Yeah, I know. It's a collectible paperweight. But, I'm like, how many years is it going to take Google /Android /whatever to finally get into the set-top box, as it were, universe in a proper way? Like, so Chromecast is awesome, right? They nailed that. But you look at what, like Amazon, their TV box is, doing pretty well and gotten good reviews. So I'm kind of questioning, like, why is it so difficult? Why can't they nail this?
Yeah, I know. It's repeatedly we're seeing this, and at this point, kind of expecting it. That's why, like, the more I read bad news about the Nexus player, the more I was like, yes, this saddens me. But what saddens me more is that I kind of expected to be disappointed.
I'm not surprised.
You know what I mean? And I don't want that. I want these things to kick butt.
It's the football. It's the Charlie Brown football. Every time it's like, all right, this is gonna be the one, and then it gets yanked. Yeah, it's like, oh.
Now, mind you, none of us have played with the Nexus player.
No,
so
but I'm not gonna get one after this. I mean,
Yeah?
I think that I don't know Ron very well, but he's got a good name and he's been on the show enough that I really trust him.
I trust his opinion.
And
for sure.
this is not something even $100. If this was maybe $49, then I would take the risk.
Yeah.
But at $100, nope.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's tragic because
That's a
I
bummer.
want this so badly. I want it to work. I want it. Oh well.
So I guess we'll see. I do have one ordered. I will be getting one sometime. I don't know the delivery date on that, but hopefully soon. And
Through Amazon as well. If so, we might never see it.
no, I got that through Play.
Okay. Yeah.
So. Okay, so real quick here, we have a couple of minutes before we go into the next section here. Myriam, you have a few devices that we've seen on the we've talked about on the show. We haven't seen up close and personal. You've been playing around with the latest Moto X, the latest Moto G, and the Samsung Galaxy Alpha. If you could give us like your cliff notes, like top level, like what do I think of these? Yeah, go for it.
Sure. So let's start with the Moto X2, second generation. They finally nailed the design. Beautiful metal edges now instead of the plastic, and of course leather and other choices of backs. 5.2-inch display. It's a great phone all around. The only issue with it, I think, is to be really competitive, it lacks OIS on the camera. I really think this is a big deal. And if you want to be flagship level today, look, even Apple's doing optical image stabilization on the iPhone 6 Plus. So we know it matters. That's my takeaway. Great phone. You can't go wrong. This is a fantastic device. The Moto G is more of the same. It's just a smaller, cheaper version of it. It's grown a lot this year. It is now a 5-inch device. And mine is in a beautiful shade of pink, purple in the back. It's just kind of cool. 5-inch device has grown from 4.5, I think, before, and 4.7 for the G. And the nice thing about this, the stereo speakers are actually stereo, whereas on the Moto X, one is the earpiece, one is the speaker. And Snapdragon 400, so basically last year's specs, but just a newer, bigger display. Also an improved camera, 8 megapixels. That's basically my takeaway on these two. And then finally, if you want a really, really gorgeous Android phone, there's this guy, Galaxy Alpha. Really, really beautiful. This is an AT&T model, and you can see, I don't know how much my camera is good enough in this low light, but there's a beautiful aluminum frame all the way around. This is the first Samsung device where I really feel like I'm holding something premium in my hand. The Note 4 is made very similarly. Finally, Samsung, I think, probably feeling threatened with their quarterly results by Apple, who's finally entered the 4.7 and a 5.5-inch display realm, is making phones that, in terms of design, build quality, and materials, can compete. And the Alpha was the first 4.7-inch Snapdragon 800. It's a great phone all around. I hate TouchWiz, and all that stuff is still a problem. But if you put the Android launcher on it, like the default one, and you remove all the AT&T's crap on there, it makes for a pretty great phone. It's pretty thin too, really nicely made. Battery life could be better, but that's basically it.
And on the Alpha, is that just wide release? Because I know earlier today, Samsung unveiled their A5 and their A3, which are full metal unibody devices. Of course, they're releasing in China at first and then in the UK, so I don't even know if they're going to end up hitting the US. Is the Alpha just wide release at this point?
My impression that it is. I mean, it's been out for significantly longer. Like, it was announced before the Note 4. So it was the first kind of high quality build materials and finish phone from Samsung in a long time.
Right.
Came out in the summer. Now AT&T just picked it up, but it's been out in Europe for a while. In Canada, even before the US. Now the A5 and A3, is that what you said? I think those are more mid-range-ish.
Yeah, they
I don't
are more
remember
mid-range.
the specs. This is actually pretty much the same specs almost as a Note 4.
Gotcha.
Doesn't have quite as good the camera. And of course, the display resolution is not as high because it's only a 4.7-inch display. but it is pretty solid all the way around in terms of spec. It has the heart rate monitor in the back and all the things, the fingerprint reader and all the things you'd expect from a GS5 basically.
And more metal creeping into the body.
So much, but like
Samsung
it just
devices.
feels like, I mean, this thing in hand is just night and day. It's like it's what we've all wished Samsung to be doing for years now.
Yeah.
Finally happened.
Awesome. And we're seeing more and more of it. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how much that trickles into, even just the S6, for example, or the next S.
Well, if the Note 4 is any indication, I think this is the way they're going to have to go for the high-end flagships. They're going to have to go with, premium build now.
Right. Excellent. Thanks for showing those off. That's awesome. Love it when Myriam goes into hardware mode.
Interesting note. My 11-year-old niece just got a Moto G.
Oh, nice.
Her first cell phone.
Your niece, nice.
Yeah, nice. Moto G, 11 years old. That's crazy.
What does she like it?
She loves it so far. Yeah, she's texted me all the time and everything on it. She's digging it. I haven't actually spoken to her about it. She's texted me about it, but
so I need to know: is she using Hangouts as her SMS app?
With the Moto?
No, my sister set her up on WhatsApp because that's what our family kind of uses to stay in touch and that sort of thing. So she's on the WhatsApp. So
nice.
Yeah,
I think the Moto G is probably the best entry level. Or not entry level, it's the Moto E, but mid-range, you can't go wrong. I mean, you want to as close as a pure Nexus experience as possible with a device that's rock solid. You can't go wrong with either last year's Moto G or this year's Moto G.
Yeah, I completely agree. It's kind of the foundation against which I review all mid-range phones these days. It's like, yes, this is really good. How does it compare to this one? Because this is also very, very good. So
it is gotten a bit big though, to be honest with you. Like this incarnation 5 inches might not fit everybody's taste.
That's true. Let's take a break before we hit some apps on the show here and thank our next sponsor of today's episode, Citrix Go to Assist. Now, managing your company's IT support needs can definitely be challenging, especially when you have remote or mobile employees. You have to handle urgent tech support requests quickly to maintain that productivity, and making sure your network security is never compromised. That's an issue. That's why we highly recommend Citrix Go to Assist. It's the #1 global market leader in remote support. It's easy to use, it's a cloud-based remote support solution that allows you and your team to solve problems faster than ever. With Go to Assist remote support, you can provide live and unattended remote support to any computer or mobile device. You can screen share with employees and help you diagnose and fix their support problems faster and more efficiently. And you can use Go to Assist apps to deliver support anytime, anywhere from your iPhone, your iPad, your Android device, whatever you got. Go to Assist is easy to use. It sets up in less than a minute. And whether you're supporting 1 coworker, 10 employees, or even 1,000, Go to Assist is the perfect solution for you. Particularly, if you work in IT, I especially want you to try Go to Assist. It's going to be a lifesaver for you. So here's what you can do. You can sign up today for a 30-day free trial to check it out. No contract, no credit card needed there. You can just check it out. Get to use and Go to Assist and see what you think. You have 30 days to do it with a free trial. Go visit gotoassist.com and click on the Try It Free button now to check it out for yourself. See what you think. I think you're going to love it. And we thank Citrix for their support of All About Android and the Twit Network. All right, we've got a couple of apps. Let's check them out. Material design everywhere.
Gmail 5.0.
Yes.
Gmail 5.0 is now in the Play Store. It's Material Design Plus, you guys. It's not just Material Design. It's got the ability to add accounts from lots of different services, even outside of Gmail. So this is basically Google taking your standard email client that supports, SMTP and IMAP, and adding those capabilities into the Gmail app. So you can get native Gmail as well as your regular pop accounts. Ron. It's also got Exchange support built right in. And, of course, the APK was flying around, but it turns out it's just on the Play Store now. I have tried to get the Play Store to send this to my OnePlus One, but I am still stuck in 4.0ville. I don't know. Have you guys figured out a way to get this from the Play Store, or do you just sideload the APK?
Sideload the APK.
Just I haven't bothered yet.
Yeah. All right. I'm just gonna do that because I want it. Material.
Yeah, honestly, what I've
Material.
noticed is it looks so similar to Inbox
Yes.
that until you get really used to the fact that they're both similar but different.
Yeah.
You want to use them the same. So in Inbox, if you swipe one way, you set a reminder. You kind of put it off until later. If you swipe it the other way, it's done. In Gmail, of course, either way archives it. I don't know. It's so similar that it's kind of confusing at first when you get more and more used to using Inbox.
So it's it is the default Gmail version on the tablet. Now that you mention it,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
yeah, it's uncanny how like it is. How much is like Inbox. Which, by the way, I love Inbox. I think they've redone something fantastic there.
I agree.
I
The
agree.
more
Yeah,
I
they
use
did
it,
a
the
good
more I
job.
love it. Yep.
I agree. I wish I could use it more, but I don't use that Gmail account that it's associated with.
Maybe you should move, Ron.
Maybe I should. I don't know, not with that handle. Anyway, so speaking of APKs that you could sideload, we've also got Google Calendar 5.0, which also is Material Design Plus. It's got the lovable illustrations that show you how the app works, including a plane that seems to drop mail bombs. And
Thanks, plane.
but also it's got really cool. Not only the material design is great, but it's got nifty little hooks in that gives you a better schedule view. It integrates kind of Google Plus events as into your calendar as just another appointments. It allows you to embed maps and images and things like that into your appointments. So it's calendar that much more. Material design plus. It's not on the Google Play Store yet, but over on Android Police, they've got the APK download, so you can sideload it if you can't wait.
I've got it here on the tablet.
Yeah, you got it on the tablet. Yeah.
It looks pretty awesome. Like, here's a quick view. Oh, wait. Wow, shiny. There we go. You guys can have a look. It's nicely organized. Feels really beautiful.
Have it, although I haven't scanned through whether I should show it off or not.
It's cool.
Oh no! All About Andrew is recording right now. Everybody knows.
Jason has an appointment to take creepy pictures later.
Yes, take picture of bald cap.
No more.
Sorry.
No, it's great to see this material design rolling out to the core apps, and it's it's cool. So
yeah, and it looks really good in Calendar. These apps needed this.
Yeah.
They needed
Yeah.
they needed a refresh to get excited about them again.
It was
it's
getting
great.
a little stale,
Completely
wasn't it? Yeah.
well, and it makes sense given that how much of an improvement Lollipop is, and how much of a step forward that
Yeah,
the app
it
should
would be
step
weird
forward.
if the apps didn't move with it.
Yeah, it would be weird.
I will be curious to see if all the apps kind of get there. It feels a little kind of hodgepodgey, you know what I mean? But at the same time, Lollipop hasn't, like we talked about earlier, hasn't officially released at this point. So if some of the main core apps don't have the material design in tow, I suppose we can forgive Google for that.
It's a pretty consistent experience on the Lollipop on the Nexus 9, I tell you, with all these integrated Google apps. It's just really gorgeous. You feel like you're in just one universe, right? And more than ever. And of course, all the old apps now are just like, oh my God, this is so wrong. Not only are they not most of them are not tablet capable, but on top of that, they don't use material design. So I still have some apps that I'm running that are so old they don't even use, the Android 4 stuff, and it's kind of disturbing. But at the same time, they run fine, So at least you're not completely SOL.
right.
It's funny because I saw somebody on the train the other day with an iPhone, and they must have had iOS, before 7 running, and it was the kind of thing where I was like, I did a kind of double take because I'm like, oh, I haven't seen that in a while. Like, it was like clearly a non-updated phone, and it starts to stick out like a sore thumb. That's what happens when you make these huge design movements. It definitely the non-updated versions of things stick out. So, yeah. All right, cool. Let's thank another sponsor before we move on. We want to thank Gazelle for sponsoring this episode of All About Android. And with all the new hardware and fun stuff that's out there, let's say you want a Nexus 6 or you want to get one of those new Nexus 9 tablets. What do you do with your old Nexus 7 tablet? Well, Gazelle wants to buy your used Android devices. You can lock in your price today and send it to Gazelle so when you get your new one, because Gazelle's offer is good for 30 days. Gazelle makes selling your used gadgets fast and simple. Just go to Gazelle.com, that's Gazelle.com, and find your item. Tell Gazelle the condition, and be honest. They'll even buy broken phones and tablets, so it's okay. You can get a risk-free offer for your gadgets and free shipping. And then you'll get paid fast by check, PayPal, or get an extra 5% with an Amazon gift card. So go to Gazelle.com now to get an offer for your used Android or Apple products. There's so many benefits of using Gazelle. You get paid in cash. Payment is fast within a few days of the item being received. It's risk-free because those offers are good for 30 days, giving you time to transfer data or set up your new device. Gazelle will also wipe your data for free. The Gazelle folks are totally trustworthy. They've paid nearly $170 million to over 1 million customers. It's easy with free shipping. Most items qualify for a free box that make it that much easier. You got a fast process and no listing hassles at all. So find out what your Android device is worth today. Take a minute, go to Gazelle.com and find out. We thank them for their support.
Thank you, Gazelle. I can get $125 for my Nexus 5 right now and apply that to the astronomical price of the Nexus 6.
There you go.
No, I'm just kidding.
After you
honestly,
get the second mortgage on the house.
Honestly,
right?
I cannot complain because
can.
once again, Twit bought me the Nexus 6.
Oh,
so,
I can very much complain then.
yeah, so I am not one to complain, but I understand.
Between Twit buying your Nexus 6 and Myriam talking about how easy it's been to get phones, the last free phone I got from Google, I think, was the Galaxy Nexus. That was admittedly I haven't tried, so I probably should try. Wah, wah. But and I am complaining about the Nexus 7, which I didn't pay.
Admit it, you missed the Galaxy Nexus.
I do admit the Galaxy Nexus is good. It was all right.
I had the Galaxy Nexus on Verizon. I don't miss it at all.
Oh my God, no, that was much worse than the original though.
Yeah,
I mean,
it was.
Yeah, I liked it because I didn't pay
the
for
GSM
it.
version was different.
Yeah,
Different
completely.
phones, really, almost.
Yeah, they really were.
Don't miss the Nexus S. I'll tell you that much.
I have it here
still-
if you ever want to.
Oh no, I've
walk down
still got
memory
mine too.
lane.
I wonder if Gazelle would take that.
I have a feeling they
I'm pretty
might not.
safe to say I don't need it anymore.
Yeah, I'm sure. All right. Hey, why don't we, get into the arena, battle a little bit.
So many enter, but only one lives. Android Arena.
Just take the sucker home.
All right. So last week.
Yeah, this one was pretty clear before I even got in the car.
My goodness.
Yeah, it
Commander
was-
for Google Now. Gina's the big winner this time.
Big winner.
56%. DJ2 came in at 26%. Wakey at 13%. And Snowball didn't have a snowball's chance in hell. 5%.
The Google Plus polls have been my friend. I like them.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Man, what's going on here?
1,700 people voted. Over
Yeah,
1,700
we're
people
getting
voted.
some
It's
great
pretty cool.
response on the Google Plus.
Although I have noticed that it reaches a point. It reaches a point about 1,000 votes, and those percentages are locked.
Oh yeah, totally.
You know, like it's totally like it's like an exercise in statistics. It's
Yep.
amazing. You know,
Yep.
yeah. So
completely. All right, so I was the big loser, so I'll go first. And unfortunately, I can't really show much off of this app on my phone because it reveals a ton of contact data.
so trust me, it's cool.
So trust me, it's awesome. But I'll show you the starting point. It's called Float Note, and it's a pretty simple approach here. Actually, let me
Material design.
take down the brightness a little bit. Okay, so of course I did it too far. Sorry, folks. Here, let me bring it up. There we go. Okay, Float Note. So what is Float Note? Float Note is a way to attach a note to a phone number in your contact list. And what happens, so I'm not going to actually, go through, but I can basically come down here, and it does have material design, so that's nice. I can either go to my call log or to my contacts, and I can assign a note to a specific contact. The next time that person calls, that note is going to appear over the top of my phone interface. So say you want to remind yourself to thank somebody for a gift that they got you the next time you talk to them, or you want to, you have to call Guitar Center because you have to return a piece of broken gear, and that actually happened to me not too long ago. If I wanted to assign like the serial number to that to Guitar Center, so that when I'm out of the house and make the call, I have that information, whatever. You can assign it through this app. So if you play the video on the Play Store, Bryan, you can kind of see how it looks when it works in practice. And again, I don't want to show everybody all the phone numbers of everybody I know, but it's pretty straightforward. It does exactly what we're talking about, and it is specifically for popping up a note over the top of incoming calls, or even when you place a call. It just pops the note up there. You can dismiss it from there if you like. You can move it around so that it's not blocking that awesome profile picture that you get. But it's just a way of allowing you to drop notes while you're talking on the phone.
So now you can remember who your mom is.
Yeah, you could put a note that says, "This is Mom."
This is his mom.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, see, we're coming up with reasons to use this app, like left, right, and center right here.
If you're forgetful, that's good.
That's the thing. That's why this actually pulled me in, because I am a very forgetful person. So, and so many times I'm talking on the phone and I need to place a note or take a note and I don't have a pencil or whatever. So you can do that while you're talking to somebody and assign it to that person. And then it logs all of the notes when you launch into the app, so you have access to them and you can place them in advance or as you're on the phone. So anyways, there you go. It's called Float Note. You can get a free version of it. There are actually tiers. So all the way up to $4.88. There's actually a more expensive one, but the developer outright says, like, this is so that I can, buy my wife jewelry or something like that. So although I'm sure someone will pay that much for it. But I would say $4.88 is the way to fully unlock the app. Or you can do some of the tiers. And actually the tiers, allow you to have like a certain number of characters, number of notes or whatever. But you can, you can take a look and see for yourself. It's called Float Note Phone Call Notes. Check it out. All right, Ron, you are up next.
I need a cable.
Oh,
I need a cable,
We
sir.
had one.
It's over your knee. I didn't want to get too.
well, but why not?
Yeah, there it is,
don't
right
understand.
there. There it is.
Oh.
Yeah.
Here, allow me.
We're getting personal on all of that Android. Hey,
Thank you, Bryan.
Oh boy.
All right, so I'll be honest. This is a little bit of an audible. I had an app all picked up last night. Picked up a couple of days ago that I was going to do in the this week's arena. But then, as I was browsing around to see if there's any little last minute entries, I came across this app called Tidal, which is it's not Float Note. It's called Tidal, which is it's not Float Note. It's
Did I give you one that's wrong?
I like that you're on repeat right now, like a broken.
Basically, it's a new music a streaming service music app similar to Spotify or Rdio or Google Play Music or Beats or any of those type things. But the difference in with Tidal and what caught my eye is that their key differentiator is that they are offering up hi-fi lossless editions of music. And so if you are a true audiophile, or if you're somebody who's really into music and it drives you crazy to get compressed audio, especially from a streaming service or anything like that, then Tidal might be your new answer. There is a little catch, which I'll get to the end of it, but for now I'll go through it. Really nice, kind of slick design. What they've got is they're a combination of they've got over 25 million tracks loaded in the service, so there's a ton of music there that's available. But they've also got playlists. They've got curated playlists. They've got articles from music journalists that specifically call out songs. So it's really like, it reminded me kind of like a hybrid of Google Play Music and Beats audio, but less of the gimmick of Beats. So, here's just on the main What's New page, and you can see there's a bunch of pre-made playlists. So if you're into Halloween, there's some creepy songs. There's the CMA Awards, which apparently is a kind of music that they give awards for.
There's Justin Timberlake.
Yeah,
and
so they're
Adele,
recommending some albums and some tracks and things like that. Now, what happens here is that you can go into the playlists, and similar to the songs integration in Google Play, they've got, you want to relax, you're looking to party, you want to work out, that sort of thing. So they've got these kind of curated, kind of things. We're going to go into some history, and it can give me some, rap in the Big Apple. That's kind of cool. There's some all kind of New York-based hip hop and things like that. So for me, the question is always, does it have the music I listen to? Does it have the stuff that I want? As you can tell here, I'm going to search for Johnny Marr, who's the old guitarist from the Smiths, and he has a new record out. And so I'm going to go look for that, and it comes up with this nicely designed little image of him. And I get a listing of tracks, and I do see that they have his new album, Playland. I can swipe to the left, and I can see albums that are available. You've got EPs and singles. It gives you other recommended albums. He actually did a lot of the soundtrack work on The Amazing Spider-Man 2, so it's recommending that because it comes up. It pulls in music videos, gives you suggestions of similar artists, which actually these suggestions are really spot on. And then it gives you biography and all this information. So it's really kind of, for a music fan, it's kind of a one-stop shop where, pretty much every direction you'd want to go in. But then the real kicker is the audio, is here we are. It's completely lossless. Now, it's hard to tell here as it's playing in the background and I'm talking to hear the quality. And I did a couple of tests where I sat there with my studio headphones on and I played the same song on this and then on Google Play Music, streaming both over Wi-Fi. And Jason can attest to this. I've got hearing loss, right? Like I've got all the live shows, things like that over the years. Even I noticed the difference in the fullness and the richness of the lossless songs. Like if you are, if you're listening to this in a good car stereo, or if you have a good pair of Beats headphones and you really want that good quality audio, it's hard to argue this. It's really sounds really, really good.
Nice.
So yeah, one thing is that it lacks Chromecast. I would have liked it to see Chromecast support, so I could plug it into, I could cast it to my home stereo. But I imagine that's going to come. It's a brand new app. I mean, it's got less than 5,000 downloads. So the big gotcha is that the service, you get a 7-day free trial, and then the service is $19.99 a month, which is pricey. Yeah, it stings.
I was gonna say this sounds fantastic until you got to that.
Yeah, exactly. So. So the real question is that if this sort of thing means a lot to you, if quality audio is that important to you, and if you're that much of an audiophile, I can imagine that you'll probably, you'd fork over the money. I don't know if I'd pay the $20 a month for this. But that's partially because I'm half deaf, and so the high quality is probably lost on me. But I mean, they even got the new Decemberist song, which just came out. So. Yeah, I mean, it's really, really cool. So audiophiles should check it out. Well designed, full of content. Like the rich content about the music, about the albums and the artists and things like that. The curated playlists seem to be pretty. I was scrolling through them. Sometimes you see a playlist and you're just like, oh, I don't agree with that or whatnot. They seem like playlists I would listen to. So
nice.
And I like seeing an upstart in this area. Like I never heard anything about them. It's not a Spotify. It's not somebody who's big, high profile. How they got 25 million tracks and lossless they're doing is kind of impressive.
No kidding.
So we'll see. I mean, and one thing, if you're going to use it, watch out for your data plan. It does.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, you can set in the settings to only stream music via Wi-Fi. I turned that off, and it still even warned me. It's like, hey, you're not on Wi-Fi. Are you sure you want to do this? So it's a responsible app in that regard. And
it does offline caching too. So if you've got a device that has limited storage, keep that in mind as well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So wait, I just tried installing it. We're talking here, and it's basically not letting me create my account unless I actually provide credit card or PayPal.
Yeah, you sign up, and then you have 7 days free, and then you can kill it before the 7 days. So,
but you have to actually actively kill it.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah. Well,
7-day trial.
They gotta pay for that bandwidth. Lossless audio is not small files.
No, but the point is they do want your credit card right off the get-go.
Yeah.
They won't give you the 7 days up front and let you, remind you at the end of the 7 days, say, hey, please enter your credit card info now. Your 7 days are up.
Yeah. Well, we're less talking. This isn't business plan arena. This is app. This is the app arena. So, just to be clear,
I was all excited. I wanted to try it out. Now I actually have to provide my credit card info.
Well, it's just 16 digits. We'll be all right.
You're really selling this, Ron.
So that's Tidal. Check it out if you're into music.
Probably more like 20 digits though.
With the CCV.
Yeah, maybe 20,
right.
maybe 23 with the expiration
date.
Yeah. So 23 is maybe a little too much, too many digits.
How much was Beats Audio? What was the Beats Audio subscription price? I think that was $9.99, wasn't it? I mean, that's the thing. Like, if this was a $12.99 per month thing, it'd be a no-brainer. $19.99 is just a little bit of a sting.
Or even 15 because it's high fidelity.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Beats is pay more for high definition.
Beats is $9.99 or $99 a year. Like even if there was like $100 a year for a title or 120 or something like that, that'd be a little, But so
still cool, yeah.
Still it's cool. Lossless audio streaming. That's pretty impressive.
Nice to have that option.
Yeah.
And to some people, $20 a month will be worth it.
Yeah,
to have that.
Well, good design, good content all around. It was good. Go for it.
Excellent. So let's see, Myriam, you are up next. I'm going to see if I can log in real quick here. But go ahead and start talking about it. And I'll show it off here.
So, I mean, I guess I wasn't trying to take away the excitement. I think this title stuff looks really great. But, since I have a sound app too, I figured,
Sure. Hey, there's a level of
gotta do.
competition. You got to do what you got to do.
I'm a huge audio person. As you can see, I'm wearing GT 990s from Biodynamic. They're some of the best headphones for the money. And so lossless all the way. I agree with you. But SoundCloud is my app. It's nothing new. But I think a lot of people don't realize, they think of SoundCloud as the service on the web, and they don't realize that there's an app and you can do all kinds of pretty cool stuff with it. Number one is, if you liked some playlists on the web, you'll see them appear here in your likes, and you can retrieve them, which is really great. And you can listen to them. They stream, not lossless, but pretty high quality. It's not too bad. And you can scrub through here if you move left and right. There you go. And so you can exactly.
Nice.
And you see the audio waveform, which is great. And so here's the killer. The thing they don't tell you about anywhere is that if you play this entire song or most of it on a Wi-Fi connection, say, it will cache it locally so you can play it offline. It doesn't tell you that anywhere, but it's actually pretty cool. I grabbed a bunch of DJ mixes when I went to Burning Man, and I basically played them on my Wi-Fi connection at home on my phone. And when I got to Burning Man, I was able to listen to them offline because they were cached on my phone. And it was great because they're like an hour-long DJ mix, So it doesn't tell you that it does that, but it actually does.
Nice.
And so you're gonna say, okay, whatever. It's an app interface for the SoundCloud service. But there's more to it, and the more to it I think is really cool is you can record audio anytime, anywhere. It's got a record functionality, and that means you can then like upload directly to the cloud for like private or public consumption. So say you're a reporter and do a lot of audio interviews, you can now upload these interviews for someone else to access on your team instantly. While you're recording them, basically. And then you can also make them public if you want to share like the sounds of cool birds that you're hearing right now, kind of thing. I think you have to hit the menu at the top there. Do you see the 3 menu buttons? And there's record.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Oh, wow. That should that's like cool functionality. That should be surfaced.
And so it has some geo-tagging functionality too, so you can remember where you recorded stuff. And you can edit the audio. So if you speak right now a little bit,
yeah, you are. I believe I'm seeing you bouncing. This is so meta right now. I'm recording you talking about recording.
Cool. So now if you stop it, hit pause. So now go, you did a little scissors, click on that, and you can edit the audio.
Nice.
Cool.
It's very simple, right? Like actually you see the bars at the bottom, the left and right little
I see. Yep.
end things. You can exactly. So you can adjust, and then you can go, save, and it'll save it to the cloud. You can make it public or private. There's a whole bunch of settings. And that's what's cool about it. So, I mean,
Nice.
it's not like a killer app, I think, but the fact that there's a lot of really cool content on SoundCloud that doesn't exist anywhere else, because here's the thing. Most DJs, most artists, when they want to launch like an extract of a song or kind of get you excited about something new they're working on, they'll put something up on SoundCloud. And if you really like it, you don't have to wait for the album to come out. You can just listen to it on SoundCloud on your phone, and it'll cache it. As I said, it's not a very well-documented feature. And then secondly, you have this ability to record audio anytime you want and make it private if you don't want to share it with the public, which is great. So if you're recording an interview or whatever, and you don't want to worry about like your phone getting damaged and you losing the interview, you can have it on the cloud really quick, which I think is pretty awesome. And that's basically in a nutshell what it's about.
So SoundCloud's been rolling out ads. Is it on the, at least on the web? Has it started?
Not on the app.
Not on the app yet.
A single app on the app yet.
Cool.
The app yet. So I don't know if that's going to continue, but so far.
Yeah, they're doing it slowly because I think they're conscious of everyone freaking out that there are ads, but they're doing like the Pandora style. When you press play, then an ad comes up.
Yeah, but hey, it's free, right?
Yeah.
So
got to pay somehow.
Yep.
Oh yeah, the user base of SoundCloud and just
huge.
It's just huge. And actually, SoundCloud is now making deals. I think I read earlier today that they're kind of going legit. They made a deal with Warner.
Yeah,
I believe.
Yeah,
so,
that's right. They just did. And so, I mean, the point is that SoundCloud is a service a lot of people already know about, but it's not in the forefront of their minds, and they completely forget that there's an app for it for Android and one for iOS. So if you are, if you use SoundCloud and you have some stuff on there you like, this is a great way to get to it from your phone anytime, anywhere real quick.
Did I choose
I love the drums.
appropriately?
The drums are great.
You gave it a thumbs up.
Sure.
I've never heard of the drums.
Drums are great.
Cool. I'll go ahead and favorite it.
Good stuff.
Cool.
And that's it for me.
I like it. I love that record interface and kind of
Isn't it
the
great?
interactivity with the waveform is really cool. Love it.
Yep.
Very cool. So that is SoundCloud. Excellent service. Excellent app. Check it out. And finally, Gina, the winner of last week's arena. A lot of pressure on you right now.
I know. I gotta. It's tough being at the top, right?
Yeah.
Because you gotta keep outdoing yourself.
Yeah, don't. You gotta be careful.
I know. So my pick this week is called. It's a game. It's an adventure game called, and I think I'm saying this right, Botanicula.
Yeah, I think that's right.
Botanicula. Think botany and Dracula, I guess. Botanicula. This is the one of the coolest games, maybe the coolest game I've seen in a very, very long time. This is just an absolutely beautiful adventure game, and it's got this great story. You are sort of a band of cute little tree creatures that you can see on screen here, and you live in this tree, and you're trying to save the last seed of your home tree, right, which is like become overrun with parasites. So there are all these levels and all these locations, and the gameplay is just, the art is amazing. The music is beautiful. The gameplay is not really obvious. Like, it took me a little time to be like, what am I supposed to do here? Where am I supposed to tap? But it starts to kind of show itself. Like, you really kind of have to be curious and exploratory yourself. So you kind of have to just like tap around and see what happens. But once you do, it's really, really cool. So your first mission that you're doing here on this level of Jason, which I think is the second level, you're finding leaves and you're trying to get past these bad guys, right? You're trying to get to that feather actually at the end of the the branch there. So choose your guy, and then they all kind of run in, and there are these great. It's got this like sense of humor with these like cute, funny little sounds and like interactions that are just. It's just really. It's so weird and wonderful in like the best ways. Okay, I'm gonna give you a hint. Choose the little twiggy guy at the end.
Nope.
Yeah, he's gonna get kicked back. Okay. So choose the twiggy guy.
This
so
is
tap
infuriating.
on your.
This one.
Yeah, try that guy.
Oh,
Yeah,
he's going around him.
Yeah.
Clever.
And he's gonna get the feather.
Hey, we got the feather.
And then this is gonna launch the happy music. So now you have to climb kind of back down the trunk of the tree and give the feather to the guy who's in need of feathers so that he can fly away. So, like, it's just, it's really, it's fun. You have to have some patience. You have to be willing to sort of, explore. And there are times when I got frustrated because I was like, what am I supposed to do next? But there's tons of, like, little surprises and little places where you're tapped and something unexpected will happen.
Yeah.
And, these funny sounds will happen, or you'll one of the, a huge giant bee will fly by. Yeah, like that guy, right? And you collect all these different things. So go to the left, go out of that screen. Now go down the trunk a little bit.
Oh, down
so
here.
So it should be Try on the other side.
Ah.
Yeah. All right. So you're gonna go down. Yeah. So this dude right here, he needs the feathers. There you go. So you just gave him 2 feathers. You got 1 more feather to find.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So
That's
there's
awesome.
another feather hidden. Yeah. So it's really fun. It plugs into Google Play Games, so you unlock your achievements. There are these guys that you can collect as well.
Okay.
Yeah. There you go. Oh, yeah, one of the big flying. Oh, it's okay. So did you get the last? Was that the last feather?
I don't know. I'm just,
Come on, man, save the seed. Anyway, this is a really fun, really cool game. It's a little bit steep price-wise. It's $4.99, but in this case, you get what you pay for. This thing is the art is beautiful, the music is great, the interactions are really fun and weird and wonderful and quirky, and this is just all around great game. Highly recommend. Botanicula.
Excellent. Love it.
Botanicula.
Oh, sorry.
Cool.
There we go. Yeah.
Botanicula.
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 Botanicula? Remember that book, Botanicula?
Kind of.
Yeah, it was a children's book about a bunny called Botanicula.
Well, the other game by these developers is called Myriam. Machinarium. So
Machinarium.
they
Yes.
make words that are hard to pronounce.
They do.
You look
They
at
do.
them and they make sense, but you try and say it out loud and it doesn't work.
Yeah, and there's
there you
not a lot of writing. There's like no instructions. You just have
Right.
to kind of tap around. Which at first I was kind of like, hey, what am I supposed to do here? But then once I started to figure out, I was like, okay, it comes naturally, and the game moves along faster the more you play, and it's really fun.
Nice. Bunnicula.
There it is, a rabbit tail of mystery.
Wow.
I worked in the children's room in the library.
It's actually a thing.
Yeah.
Okay, I am just now sharing the poll. If you're watching this after the fact, all you have to do is go to AAApoll.com/186, or you can go to our community page. I'm like trying to talk and create this link at the same time. Sorry. You can go to the Google Plus community page for All About Android, and you can find it there. It'll be pinned to the top of the community page. Okay, should work now. AAApoll.com/186. Check it out and vote for your favorite app this week. Is it Float Note? Is it Tidal, SoundCloud, or Botanicula or Botanicula?
How's it going? Oh, nobody's voting. They're all asleep.
Well,
What are you doing, people?
They are. We just have to refresh in order to see it.
Yeah, there's no live tracking.
We'll work
Come
on it.
on.
We'll get together with Google and try and work on that. Okay. So they. Oh, hey.
Oh.
Well, hey, yes.
Float note.
100%.
All right,
yeah,
there you go.
Float note. I have a
we
feeling
have a
this
winner.
is a blip, but we'll see how this goes. That is it for this week's episode of All About Android. I want to thank you all for joining us. And Myriam, it was a pleasure having you on once again. So your scenario has changed since the last time we had you on. What's going on?
Yes, so I'm no longer with Pebble, and I wanted to let you guys all know that obviously I am looking for a gig. So if you guys hear of a cool job, either in the media or in the communications, evangelism, which is what I was doing at Pebble, or anything else you think might be cool for me as a full-time gig, let me know. You can ping me on Twitter. You can ping me on G+. You see all that on the screen right there. In the meantime, I'm at tanko.com, as always, my blog. I'll have a bunch of videos coming up of a bunch of devices I've been playing with. I've been a little too busy to put videos up about, except for the Nexus, because it came with a convenient embargo, which basically made me get my things together and actually edit this thing and put it up. But my podcast is also there. As you can see, it's a video podcast on Hangouts. I have a guest for 1 hour, and we generally cover one specific topic, like a trade show or something, once a month or so. And so, find me there. I'm, as I said, Tankgirl. TNKGRL is my handle pretty much everywhere. That's where my website is, my Twitter. Find me out there and let me know if you hear of any cool gigs. And it's been a real pleasure to be on the show again. I really enjoyed it. The Nexus 9 is a very interesting device. I think that, I'm crossing my fingers that we're finally going to get some really cool tablet apps on Android soon.
Yeah, I'm crossing my fingers as well.
That Lollipop is going to be that OS.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to make it happen,
It's the right OS at the right time.
That's right.
It's the OS we deserve.
Yes.
Well, it might not be the OS we need.
No, we need it. Myriam, it's always a pleasure. Thank you once again. And definitely, people, get in touch. tnkgrl.com for Myriam's site. Thank you. Ron, what's up with you?
What's up with me, yo? You go to Image Comics.
Man.
Image Comics. Go to imagecomics.com to see what I'm up to during the day, working on putting out some of the greatest comic books in the world. We got them available digitally, so you can get them on Comixology or Google Play Store or anywhere else, or on imagecomics.com themselves. And we're very excited because today we announced Image Expo, which is a one-day event on January 8th. That and if you're in the San Francisco area, you can attend. If you go to imagecomics.com/expo, you can see all the information there. It's kind of like our little Google I/O keynote presentation event that we do for fans. So it's should be some fun times. Tickets are flying. So if you like comics and you're in San Francisco, you can meet Bryan K. Vaughan, Scott Snyder.
How come you're not pictured there on the front?
I'm behind the scenes. So anyway, and finally, if you like my shenanigans, you go to about.me/RonXO. You can get links to all my social networks, or check out my wonderful RonXO.thinkup, which Bryan had ready to go.
Nice.
You can see the latest
Yay,
highlights.
Bryan.
The latest highlights of my Twitter presence. You can see the most favorites I got and the most retweets and things like that. So yeah, there you go. Love it.
You're funny. You're funny. The 5 p.m. joke was a good one.
Yeah, it was. I try.
It was great.
I have my moments.
A couple of them.
Yeah.
We've seen them before
Only
on
a
the
couple.
show.
Yeah, like every now and then.
Gina, obviously Think Up, which continues to be super awesome. What you got going on?
Thank you. Yeah, we've been working on some bunch of new insights for Think Up, which will be showing up in your stream soon. If you haven't already, if you use Twitter, if you use Facebook, and you want to get kind of daily insights about you and your friends, sign up. It's a free 14-day trial, no credit card required. Check it out. And when I'm not working on Think Up and not doing All About Android, I co-host This Week in Google here on the Twit Network. And that airs on Wednesdays at 1 p.m. Pacific and 4 p.m. Eastern. And I'll be on tomorrow with Leo and Jeff. And I think a special guest, perhaps from Google itself. And you, Jason.
That's
Which is
right.
Very exciting.
Ooh, Google guest.
Yeah,
Nice.
just pushing buttons. Again, on that show, I'm the one pushing the
Hey,
buttons.
if Bryan can do it, you can do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, no problem.
I learned from the best. Yes, looking forward to tomorrow. Bryan, what about you, sir? Other than pushing buttons, what do you do?
Yeah, as a amateur button pusher, I'm usually back here, but when I'm not, I'll be doing Know How, which you can kind of see up here on the top of the screen. We're working on
Somebody's playing with toys.
those are quadcopters flying
Oh.
autonomously.
Those
But
are
definitely
toys,
not
Jason.
not hands there.
Definitely not.
I do a know-how show with Padre on Thursdays. Check it out. We have a lot of fun. But if you're into Google Plus, well, they went down. You can follow me on Google Plus. I think BryanBurnett.com directs to it, but went to a motorcycle show over the weekend, hoping that'll be my next motorcycle. But yeah, that's another place you can follow me at.
Nice. Excellent. Thank you, Bryan. We appreciate it. Appreciate you muting parts of today's episode. It was like a game of whack. I give up.
A game of what? A game of whack-a-mole?
Yeah, apparently.
Whack 'em.
You jerk. You can find me at about.me/Jason Howell. You can follow my music on, SoundCloud, as you saw.
I prefer to follow you on Twitter, though.
Or Twitter, where you can see me in a bald cap. About to kick your butt and just looking strange, basically. Yeah. My costume for Halloween was a lot of fun. So you can check it out on Twitter. Yeah, there's that. The best of All About Android comes up at the end of the year, so you can submit moments to twit.tv/bestof. That helps us out on putting together that show. And also my other show, All About Android App Arena, normally has been on Fridays, but I have a new schedule now, and I don't work Fridays anymore. So the new time for Android App Arena is Wednesdays at 4:30 p.m. Pacific. So I have an episode tomorrow. We'll be talking about food-related apps. So if you want your stomach to grumble a little bit, you might, stop by 4:30 p.m. Pacific, check it out, or you can find the episodes after the fact at twit.tv/arena. But that is it for this week, everyone. Really appreciate you joining us. We always have a good time. Thank you to the chat room, folks in the chat room, for keeping us honest throughout the show. You can leave us a voicemail at 347-SHOW-AAA. You can always send us an email at AAA@twit.tv or a link to a video. Always like that as well. Find us on Twitter. We are at Android Show. We're on Google+. We have a community there with this week's poll, so look for that. We have a subreddit, twitAAA.reddit.com. That helps us to put the show together. And then, of course, show notes and past episodes can always be found at twit.tv/AAA. You can also find our episodes on YouTube and iTunes. And finally, you can catch us live every Tuesday starting at 5 p.m. Pacific, live.twit.tv. That is it for this week's episode of All About Android. We'll see you next week.
Bye, everybody.